A very good morning to one and all present here. I'm Adila Mohsin and I welcome you all to this new phase in the NET JRF lecture series organized by the Department of English, I.E.H.E. I would like to bring to everybody's notice that now we are planning on a more structured approach to the preparation of UGC NET, and we hope that it will be more beneficial for all of us in this new phase. Now, I would like to introduce the resource person for today's lecture. Today, for our lecture, we have with us Dr. Mukhtar Ahmad. He completed his MPhil from DAVV Indore, and he completed his PhD from BU Bhopal. And Sir has presented 6 papers in various seminars and conferences. He has published more than 20 papers in various international as well as national journals. He also was as a mentor, he was a part of the Cambridge Assessment English in I.E.H.E. Sir has authored 2 books related to English literature as well. With this, I welcome you, sir, to our NET JRF lecture series. Thank you.
So, before I start my lecture, I would like to say that there are some events that happened during the age that we are going to start. It's called Anglo-Saxon age. Now you can see these events are many, but I have taken some into consideration. Like what happened when Anglo-Saxon started their age, or when it started the age of Anglo-Saxon period. Roman Empire was in power and it started to withdraw. It started to withdraw from English or England, which we now call it by its name, like England. Okay, Roman Empire forces a lot of, you can say, attack from these people, and later on they withdrew from the boundaries of England. Number next is Anglo-Saxon settlement. It is 5th to 6th century BC. Now Anglo-Saxons started because they were warriors. They had a lot of strength. They had a lot of warrior qualities. They attacked Romans. They drove them off from their land, and they started gradually and slowly settling in the Britain. Number next is a rise of Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, 6th, 7th centuries. Several Anglo-Saxon kingdoms emerged. These are Northumbria, Mercia, Wessex, East Anglia, Kent, and Sussex. You can see these are all as counties in English kingdom now. They are still there. These kingdoms constantly shifted in power through warfare and alliances. This was the quality, how they came into power, and how these 6 to 7 kingdoms came into power. They are 6th and 7th century shifts, or you can say parts of England. Bretwalda, a term used to describe the dominant ruler among the Anglo-Saxon kings during this period. This is one of the characteristics or events. Then started the main event, Christianization of England, 7th century. If you remember, I have had a lecture with you when you came to college. First time, I have given a lecture on this Anglo-Saxon period. It is Christianization took place when Saint Augustine came to England. Saint Augustine, 597 AD. I would like to add something more here. AD is in the year of Lord. It is Latin for in the year of Lord. King Ethelbert of Kent was one of the first rulers to convert leading to wider acceptance of Christianity. When Christianity started spreading in England, first was King Ethelbert, and when the ruler accepts something, when ruler accepts something, every from every other corner, people start to follow it. That happened, and Christianization took its birth in England, and it started evolving day by day. Then see Viking invasion. Viking invasions, 8th and 9th centuries. Viking raids began in late 8th century, culminating in the sacking of Lindsfrain monastery in 793 AD, marking the start of Viking Age in Britain. Vikings also are the part of, and when they came, they also were the warriors. They also had attacking quality. They also had the qualities of warriors, and they started to spread. Over the time, these Vikings, especially the Danish people, established settlements and even ruled parts of England, forming the Dane law, where Danish law prevailed, or the law of Denmark. See, reign of Alfred the Great. He is very important figure. 871, 899 AD. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. See, the reign of Alfred the Great, 871, 899 AD. Alfred the Great, King of Wessex, is one of the most renowned Anglo-Saxon kings. He is the greatest figure, the major figure of Anglo-Saxons, and in terms of kingship, he successfully defended his kingdom against Viking invasions. He was the only one to withstand. He was the only one to save his kingdom from all these invasions that Vikings launched on, and is credited with significant reforms in law, military organization, and education. See why he is important. Later on, when we start reading who were these Anglo-Saxons, what was the contribution of these Anglo-Saxons in terms of education, in terms of literature, especially we are going to study, you will see how important he was. Alfred has promoted the use of English language. See, if you read Chaucer, you will see a lot of variations in words in language that the people at that time had spoken or spoke. Now you can see the English in the age of these Anglo-Saxon period. It was also very variable, and he was very important figure because the language that developed in England later on, there is a lot of contribution made by this man. Unification of England, 10th century. See, when we study this age, it is 410 to 1016 or 1066 in fact. So you will see that there is a lot of contribution from different angles, different writers, and different contributors of English. And you will see one of them. He is successful. He has successfully contributed to English literature. The unification of England, it is 10th century. Later, Anglo-Saxon kings, including Edward the Elder, Alfred's son, and Athelstan, continued to expand Wessex power and gradually unified England under one rule, defeating king rulers or Viking rulers in various parts of the country. See, if you are to face something, you have to be very unified. You have to be very one in your will and strength. That was provided by Anglo-Saxon kings, because when the attacks came, the English people had to be unified, and this was done by Vikings. This was done by these Anglo-Saxon kings like Edward the Elder, Alfred's son, and Athelstan. They made them one, and then in this way In various parts of the country, they defeated Vikings. Viking rule and the house of Kintalinga. This is after the years of warfare between Anglo-Saxons and Vikings. King Kent the Great, the Danish ruler, became the King of England in 1016. His reign marked a period of stability, and he ruled over North Sea Empire, which included Denmark, Norway, and parts of Sweden. Now I'm going back to my presentation, which because we have to study what Anglo-Saxon age is. Who were the Anglo-Saxons and what was their contribution to English literature? Especially when I start Anglo-Saxon age. The Anglo-Saxon period in Britain spans approximately 6 centuries. 6 centuries means 600 years. And these 600 years you can see, I have marked them in color. 410, 10, 66 AD. I have written for AD, Latin for in the year of Lord. So these are the years. This is the span. This is the time span that we call Anglo-Saxon period or Anglo-Saxon age in English literature. You understand? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes. See, it is called Dark Ages. It is called Dark Ages because mainly the written sources for the early years of Saxon invasions are not available, or you can say they are available in very less quantity. So that is why we call it Dark Ages. Dark means when there is nothing visible. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next we have most historians. The historians of the age now prefer to call it early Middle Ages or early medieval period. Anglo-Saxons were the mix of tribes from Germany, Denmark, and Netherlands. These are the three places these Anglo-Saxons came from. They came from Germany, they came from Denmark, they came from Netherlands. These the three biggest tribes that comprised England, that later became England, or that became the inhabitants of England were Angles, Saxons, and the Jutes. This is why we say when we read English literature, we see that English language developed from various sources. There are many words in English language that are not originally English. They come from different languages and different places. So Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, they came from Germany, they came from Denmark, they came from Netherlands, and these were the biggest tribes. Tribe is a clan. Tribe is you can say mix of people or some amount of people who live somewhere. The land they settled is became Angle land. You see, I would like to mark it. Can you see how England was written? Are you able to see?
Yes.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
You're not able to see?
No, sir.
Just a minute. You can just yes, you can see. This is the slide. Are you able?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can see in a very last second line. I have written this Angle land, Angle. Then there is a slash. You can say this. This is the hyphen and land, Angle land. Or you can now we are writing it England. They brought Germanic languages and new customs and dresses. See, if some people are coming to the land, they are settling there. So what happens? There come changes. Changes in language, changes in customs, changes in ideas, changes in dress, changes in fashion. All these started to happen in England. Understood?
Yes, sir.
See, I have included some map. This map you can see, I will share presentation with you. You can see how these people settled and what is this England all about. There is another. From this you can better understand. This is the map I have given in my presentation so that people or students can understand it better where they come from and what happened in Britain during the Anglo-Saxon period. Now, who were these Anglo-Saxons? As I have generally discussed with you, they were the Germanic people who settled in Great Britain in 450 or 1066. In between these two dates, in between these 2 years, they settled in Great Britain. Now we called in England or England. Okay, they inhabited the lands now known as England and Wales. These are two countries. These are two places they settled in England and Wales. In 1016, it was brought to end. The period concluded with the event of Norman conquest or Norman victory over these people. They were originally pagans. Pagans are the people who worship different gods, worshipping pagan gods and nature. They believed that there are different gods. That is why their nature was pagan. Then they were great warriors. Warrior is one who has strength and will and who fights. You can see these people or these warriors are presented everywhere in literature. In Anglo-Saxon period, they hunted, they sailed, they spent life with energy and enthusiasm. This is what made them Anglo-Saxons or what made them different from other people or what made them very unique in style and they were energetic, they were enthusiastic, so they spent life they hunted, they had the warrior qualities. There was a unique mix of savagery and sentiment. If you see a savage, then it's someone presented in the bad light. Savage is one who doesn't know anything about humanity. You can say savage can kill, savage can eat. So they held great love for physical heroism. This is their quality. Physically, they believed they must be hero or they must be heroes. Home, they had a great reverence or respect for home, family, and personal freedom. Now you can just see what they stood like. You see their dress. Are you able to see how they behaved? Hello, students. Am I able to convey my ideas?
Yes, sir.
Yes. See, I have made use of some pictures, the warrior qualities of these people. You can see they had some weapons in their hands. They are just going and fighting and defending themselves. Now, I have also used. This is their style, their lifestyle, what they had eaten or what they were eating, how they lived in the huts. This is the Anglo-Saxon settlement. Anglo-Saxon settlement. You can see I have also given this picture so that understanding can be better. See, many of the festive traditions come from or came from Anglo-Saxon times even before they became Christians. I told you that when Christian tradition started, it started later when Saint Augustine came to England. But many of the festive traditions that we are celebrating, that people are studying or celebrating in England, they came from these people, Anglo-Saxon times. Christmas, you can see Christmas coincides with the altitude, which they celebrated around 25th of December. At that time, under the old Julian calendar, uh, or associated with Julius Caesar, they were just celebrating these functions. And as I have discussed, Julian calendar, it is related to Julius Caesar, the king or the monarch. Eating a Yule log, a long-shaped chocolate cake eaten at Christmas, hanging up stockings and decorating houses with holy things are all the things we do because of Anglo-Saxon pagan traditions. These things that we are doing right now, they have come from all the way Anglo-Saxon people or Anglo-Saxon traditions. Now you can see I'm coming to Anglo-Saxon poetry. This is the main contribution made by people around over there. Anglo-Saxon poetry or Anglo-Saxon literature, you can say, because you can see there is a lot of contribution made in this field, and there is also prose, but this is the main kind. This is the main type they were familiar about. Anglo-Saxon poetry has a series of remarkable and somewhat unique literary characteristics. You can see the very first line. I have tried to color the main points, or I have tried to give boldness to the words that we see, so that you can understand what actually is the main point. Anglo-Saxon poetry also tends to involve some particularities, uniqueness, features, or tenets regarding the physical form of language. Physical form of language. You can see nowadays people talk about literary devices. You can see people now talk about how poems can be made musical, how they can be made meaningful, how many meanings can be imparted to poetry, but they were very particular about some physical variations of the poem or the language, and these include alliteration and caesura. How many of you know what is alliteration and what is caesura? Hello, am I audible to you all?
Yes,
How many of you know about alliteration? Every time you are just studying alliteration, you can see I have quoted a line from Anglo-Saxon poem, "Bid the battle, bold men, build a mound to me." You can see there are some examples. This is the example. You can see how alliteration is made use of, what it did to poetry. You are able to see this line. It's in red in third
yes, sir.
line. So this is alliteration. This was the specific quality of Anglo-Saxon literature or Anglo-Saxon poetry. Another is caesura, which is a pause, which is a short pause. We also, or as students of literature, are very much aware and very much familiar about these things. These are the very important qualities of Anglo-Saxon poetry. See, there were heroic elements in Anglo-Saxon poetry. Can you figure out why there must have been these qualities, like heroic qualities in these literary pieces? I have mentioned earlier, Anglo-Saxons believed in heroism. They were great warriors. So the one is what his mind is. Their mind was indulged in ideas of heroic or heroism. So Anglo-Saxon poetry also, we can see it uses heroic figures. If you read Beowulf, you can see that the heroic qualities by the hero or heroic qualities by the main figure. He also shows different heroic qualities when he fights with different attacking elements, as well as social and cultural codes and expectations surrounding those figures. Not only was it heroic, but social codes were there, cultural codes were there. What was these cultural and social codes? How they behaved in society, bounded by the rules and norms. So these also are figuring in the Anglo-Saxon literature, especially in poems, especially in poetry. Royal generosity and leadership. This is the second quality, or this is the quality they imparted to their literary pieces. Anglo-Saxon ideals involving leadership heavily emphasized the generosity of the king and man of status. This can be understood later on when we study about King Alfred or Alfred the Great. So generous is one who is very gentle in behavior towards his people, sharing all the things that he can, like gold, and giving his help to people who need it. So leadership needed these qualities. Leaders must have been generous, must have the kind of generosity in them. So they must be very loyal, they must be very kind towards their people. While the kings owned large swaths of land and had ability to compel men to action, they earn their followers through genuine kindness and distribution of resources. You can see what generosity means. They owned respect. They owned followings from people because they distributed some resources among them. A good king was one who shared both wealth and war with their followers. See what did they mean by generosity? Not only sharing gold and wealth among the people, but also share the quality of uh, you can say the quality of leadership. The king has to be there when it was war. He has to fight with his soldiers. He has to fight at the front. So that was how leadership and generosity came and mixed together. So he has to made a bond with them. Next is kinship, family, and bloodiness were incredibly important to Anglo-Saxon people. What they believed that they have relationships with the family, they have relationships with the people, they had family. And see, if anything happened against their family, there was blood all over. So the qualities they possessed, it formed how it came into English literature. The bloodiness is the quality of these. They will attack. If family is in danger, they go and attack. The individuals were proud of their familial ties and were expected to defend the honor of their family. This is what we can see in English literary pieces or English literature during the age of Anglo-Saxon period. See, next is blood vengeance. Blood vengeance. See, typically what they did, while the typical lawful response to this as a king was for a killer to pay some victim's family some gold, some price, which was known as wargate. WER Gild. You can see in the last fourth line, blood vengeance. It is in the second line in between, known as Vogel. Men have to pay some kind of assistance to the families. They killed some people. Okay, if somebody is killed, his family, her family has to be given some Vogel in form of gold, in form of price, and this gold oftentimes failed to satisfy the families. And if the families were not satisfied, the victims, the killed the man who is killed, or the woman who was killed, if the people associated with him, her, were not satisfied, then there was a destructive law of vengeance. They can kill the killer. Understood?
Yes, sir.
See, I have included some. I have included some of the events or some very important things in my literature. Anglo-Saxons literature, historical background. You can see the historical background, or you can see this very slide. This is Anglo-Saxon literature themes, the major issues in Anglo-Saxon literature. See, Anglo-Saxon literature was not available in writing form. It was mostly less of it was written, available to the people because it was transferred orally. Anglo-Saxon literature themes that we have, or the types of literature that we have, you can see this Anglo-Saxon literature. Anglo-Saxon literature, you can see the themes are heroic poetry. It is one of the genres. You can see there is Latin poetry and classical poetry. There is elegiac poetry. There is Christian poetry. Anglo-Saxon literature was based on many genres and themes, which they were never monotonous in nature, or which these pieces of literature were not dull. You read them, you feel ecstatic, you feel interested in this kind of literature. That is what dull didn't mean. See, different themes are secular prose. This is this is prose, and themes in prose, Anglo-Saxon prose. You might be wondering about, if there is poetry, what about drama? What about novel? What about all this? So you can see prose was already present in Anglo-Saxon literature. Secular prose was there, Christian prose was there. Apart from the proses and the poems, there were also many riddles, or riddle based on variety of same genres, which mark the literature of Anglo-Saxon types. It is known that Anglo-Saxons were dedicatedly religious. Anglo-Saxons were not brutes in nature only. They were not heroic only. They were very much dedicated to their religion. So influence of religion could be seen in literature. If they were religious minded, influence of literature could be seen very much in their poetry, in their prose, and in their literature. This is the reason why, if one goes deep into the literature of Anglo-Saxon times, one will find that the poems to the prose and riddles, a good part of Anglo-Saxon literature is based on religious background. You can just conclude from this point, if religion was practicing a lot of influence or influencing the mind of the people, then the literature they wrote must be there. The religion must play a great part in their literature. This religious part of Anglo Saxon literature marks the presence of Anglo Saxon Christian literature. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See, now I have included some of the poems or some of the literature that you can take inspiration from, and you can just understand what kind of literature they were writing or what kind of literature was available in Anglo-Saxon period. This enigmatic individual, this very peculiar individual, Beowulf, it is also the name of the work because people believe or scholars believe the Beowulf work is one of the oldest surviving books of English literature, though it was not published at that very time because printing press, as you all know, it came very late in England. It was not printed then. It was printed and published in 19th century. So this remains a mystery to this day that this man Beowulf or the Beowulf work, it has left a legacy of literature. This remarkable piece of literature is not just a story. It is not just a story that we read about or something. It's a journey through the depths of heroism, courage, and eternal struggle between good and evil. You can just perceive, you can just understand what kind of literature they were writing and how religion was playing its role in literature. Heroism was there, courage was there, eternal struggle between good and evil. Good and evil generally goes back to morality, and morality is very much, you can see, part of religion. So this was a kind of a piece. It is journey through these things. You can see Anglo-Saxon heroism there. You can see Beowulf fighting a lot, fighting with some dragons, fighting with some supernatural figures that enter there, and he remains a figure that who plays with the struggle or who struggles between good and evil. So this is how the mind of these people was. The Beowulf captured the essence of that era, essence of that era. What was happening at that very time? You can generally and particularly see what kind of people they were, what kind of tradition there was, how they were interacting with one another, and what was happening at that particular time. Tapestry of myth, adventure myth that continues to captivate readers even today. You can see it is a mixing of adventure and myth that he has imparted to this book, and even readers are captivated today. They are very much interested when they read this kind of work. Through his words, we are transported to the world of monsters, dragons, where the heroes rise to challenge and battles rage across the land. These are some of the things that you must be aware of. So you will meet dragons, monsters. You will see heroes. You will see the challenge of heroes to these things. But amidst the chaos, there is a sense of honor, duty, and undying spirit of humanity. These people were not only what you can see attackers. They were not only kind of inhuman creatures, but they were humans. They were having the quality of duty towards themselves, duty towards their people, duty towards the humanity. The humanity was living at that time. As we delve deep into Beowulf, we not only uncover the rich tapestry of ancient storytelling, but glimpses into the soul of the poet who dared to immortalize the spirit of the time. See, we are not only uncovering the ancient art of storytelling, but we see the poet, the man who told us this story and tried to immortalize, tried to make it permanent. The spirit of the age made permanent by Beowulf. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So you can see I have included a picture from Beowulf. You can see, you can better understand from this picture. See how these people are shown. What kind of fight they must have been fighting. This is just a little bit of a glimpse into Anglo-Saxon literature or into Beowulf. You can understand what the qualities of these people were. They were warriors. Understand?
Yes, sir.
There is another picture. It will depict more clearly. Now we have another important figure or another important literary work, Cadman. I'm not able to pronounce it correctly. If you can pronounce it correctly, please. An important character in Old English literature, Cadman was a devout poet who worked as a cowherd. Despite being illiterate, Cadman was said to have a remarkable talent for writing and singing beautiful hymns. So, religious qualities can be seen in this man. He was not literate, he was not well read, he was not well educated. But despite these qualities, despite the lack of great education or quality education, he was a great talent. He was a singer, he was a writer, and he had sung hymns in praise of God. And he wrote in commonplace Old English. Commonplace Old English was what was spoken at that time, which language, which words were used. He wrote, he sung his songs in that very kind of language. His writings placed strong emphasis on the glory, might, and power of God. See what are the qualities of Cadman? What are the qualities of Edmund's literature? He sang what he sang: the glory of God, the might of God, the power of God. Cadman's poetry served as a link between the oral tradition and written word. See, from this point, you can conclude that writing or especially publishing was not available then, but he served a link between the true traditions. One is oral tradition, that you can say narrating the stories, narrating the poems, and transferring it to other sections of the society, or other times. But now the literature was written also in this very time. So he is a connecting link between these two traditions. Although just a small portion of his original composition or compositions has survived, his impact on poets of later generations cannot be emphasized, cannot be denied, I think. Cannot be denied. So he is a great influence on English literature. Cadmon's hymn is a short poem written by an uneducated herdsman named Cadmon around 731 CE. Originally written in Old English, the hymn was supposedly sung by Cadmon, who at the time worked from a monastery and refused to sing. So this is about Cadmon. Now the important figure, Bed. You can see. Am I able to show you the slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Bed. In the early Middle Ages, Bed, commonly referred to as Venerable Bed, excelled as a scholar and a historian. So you can see these two qualities he was possessing. He was a scholar, of a great mind, and he was a historian. He was a writer of the history. You can travel to England of his times through his books. You can see the tradition. You can see the fashion. You can see the English of England of his times through his books. He was either born in 672 or 73. The date is not exact, so you can write both of them. And spent the majority of his life as a monk in Jarrow Monastery in Northumbria, England. So most of the time he spent as a monk, and he was in some monastery in Northumbria. It is a part of England. See the ecclesiastical history of the English people. This is the book written by him, or this is the work available to us. Bett's most well-known work is Thorough History of England, focusing primarily on development of Christianity in the country. So you can, if you read this kind of work, you can see what history was present there. Especially, he writes about Christianity and its development in England at that time. The rigorous investigation and dedication to accuracy that went into Bett's historical works are what set them apart. So he has written works with very accuracy. A historian needs to be very accurate because dates need to be put into the work. So you must be well educated about the dates, when it happened, on which date, on which time an event happened. So this accuracy was there. To present a thorough account of English history, he drew on variety of sources, including government records, oral traditions, and prior publications. See, at that time, you can see he has not just said, he has taken some references record on English history. Bed made important contribution to theology, astronomy, linguistics. In addition to his historical studies, he published scientific treatises, biblical commentary, demonstrating his variety and depth of knowledge. So he's not only a historian. You can see he has contributed to astronomy, theology. He contributed to historical studies, and he has contributed also to linguistics. Bett's writings left a long-lasting impression, influencing succeeding academic generations and shaping medieval Europe's intellectual climate. Since Bett's writings were widely read and studied across the continent, his expertise was recognized well after his own lifetime. So he was not recognized at that time, as it happens in most of the cases that happened with him. He is an admired figure in the history of English and European study due to the seriousness, deepness, and insight of his writings. Why he is admired? Why he is important figure in English literature? Because whatever he wrote, he was serious with it. He was going into the deep details. He provided every kind of detail in his writings. Then the insights, we get a lot of influence from him. We get a lot of ideas from his writings. Now I'm coming to King Alfred. Are you able to see my slide?
Yes, sir.
King Alfred, Alfred the Great, one of the most admired Anglo-Saxon monarchs, left an imprint on English history and can never be erased. His impression can never be removed from English literature. He was crowned king of Wessex amid an era of upheaval and Viking invasions after being born in 1849. The Viking admired, or Viking armies were effectively repelled by Alfred thanks to him and his military power, because he was the one who counterattacked them, Vikings. He withstood their attacks, and he was very much, you can see, available to draw them away or keep them away from the England. That is why he is called the great monarch. That is why he is called the great of the kings of England. Greatness doesn't come by what you possess. Greatness comes by the deeds that he has shown in his deeds. Alfred was a visionary leader who valued education and reading in addition to his military powers. He was not only a great leader, he was very much dedicated to the development of development. And development only comes because education is there. Education, he valued it He valued reading. He valued this, and he was having a great power in terms of what we call military and intellectual. He was also intellectual because when one is producing some work, he can be called intellectual, and he has produced some works. He has given his ideas. He has given his advanced ideas. Being both a scholar and a translator, Alfred himself translated important Latin writings into Old English, including books on history, philosophy, and religion. These are the fields that he has translated from and translated into. His translations of Boethius, The Consolation of Philosophy, is still regarded as one of the most important works. Together with his efforts to promote feeling of cultural identity and community among his people, Alfred works to advance education. In place of Latin, he advocated the creating of English literature and laws. So he was the first who advocated for English instead of being using Latin. During his kingship, there was Renaissance, which is known as Alfredian Renaissance or Renaissance of King Alfred. I would like to include here his picture. This is the King Alfred, and the works I have just given you. See, there are some other works, but I think we are running out of time. I would just like to read their names. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to read the names of these works. The Wanderer is there. Anonymous Beowulf is there. See, I'm going back to the last. The Dream of the Road. Then you can see these slides. See, now very last, I would like to. This slide you must take a look at. The influence of invaders can be seen in the names of the some days. Wednesday, which was Warden's Day, Thursday, which was Thursday, and Friday, which was Freya's Day. These are some of the words that we are now pronouncing or now writing with innovations. But see, you can see these words. I have made them colored. I have colored them in red. You can see how the English history is being preserved. How we see that Old English was there, and how these names are preserved in different days or different places. This is the last slide. Are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
So this is the very last slide I have taken from. If time gives me permission, I will try to discuss it later on because the age is very vast. Age can't be completed in just a moment. It needs a lot of time. It needs more time so that we can cover it all the way. But you can see how language was transformed, how language was transformed, and how varieties of language came into play. And not only literature, but linguistics also was influenced by Anglo-Saxon period. Thank you all. I will share my presentation with you all. Thank you very much.